guys, Dr. Crystal Maxwell here, and I've gotten several questions about my thoughts on when to do natural things for weight loss versus using medication. Some people have felt like the use of GLP-1s is like a quick fix, or just have, certain concerns about it and wanted my perspective on it. So let's kind of talk about what that looks like. So when you are thinking about should you just lose weight naturally, first let's break down and look at what that really means. So we're typically talking about lifestyle changes that you may be wanting to implement, or using supplements, or a little bit of both instead of prescription medications, because supplements are a medication, okay? But you don't want to necessarily use a prescription medication. And one of the most important things I hope you walk away with is that these things don't exclude one another, meaning doing a prescription medication does not mean that you don't need to use natural things such as nutrition, weight loss, and even the use of supplements. Because really, lifestyle things absolutely matter, and no one needs to be trying to lose weight loss without implementing lifestyle changes. Okay, that is very, very important element to successful, long-term, sustainable weight loss. Okay, so when we look at lifestyle changes, we talk about nutrition, we talk about exercise, we talk about sleep, we talk about stress management. All of those things are extremely important and are foundational things that you need to have in place. Supplements can sometimes support that. I'm not going to give specific names of supplements that you can use, but it's a discussion to have with your doctor. And there are certain supplements that, based off of your medical history, that may not be safe, or other medications that you're using that may not be safe for you. So I'm not going to go into a deep dive of what supplements you should use for weight loss, but you should have that discussion with your doctor to make sure that supplements that you are considering using are safe. Also, beyond the safety for your medical history and other medications that you may be taking, you also need to think about the safety of where you're getting your supplements from, because supplements are not FDA regulated in the facilities that they're made in. So there are some people who sell supplements that the purity of what they're selling is not great. The other fillers that they are putting into the capsule or pills can actually be dangerous and cause side effects as well. And so you want to make sure that you are using more highly tested supplements, even when it comes to something as simple as vitamin D. You want to make sure that you're using a high quality brand company to get your supplements from, because the quality of what you're taking and the other additives that they may be putting into it can actually be not that great. So you'd also want to make sure that you're taking that into account, because since they are not FDA regulated, just because they have quote unquote vitamin D in it, they may not be doing safety testing at the level of some other companies to say that the amount of vitamin D that's actually in there is what they are selling you, because they are not doing that type of testing. Or some of the other additives that they are using can have preservatives and things that are, can present side effects. So you want to make sure you're using a reputable company for where you're getting your supplements. All right. And then when you are doing you're looking at lifestyle things, nutrition, sleep, stress management, movement. Nutrition is so foundational. It absolutely is. Mediterranean diet has great data on helping people to lose weight. There's some data about ketogenic diet, but you should be having a conversation with your doctor to make sure that certain types of diet are safe for you based off of your medical history and what goals that you are going for. So limiting eating out, processed foods, because a lot of places that cook out may use vegetable oils and other preservatives and things. A lot of places tend to use a lot of simple sugars and processed things. So you want to look at those things and work on eliminating those things. You want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. You want to make sure that you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You want to make sure that you're implementing effective stress management strategies. You want to make sure movement is part of your day, not just 2 to 3 times a week of 20 to 30 minute exercise, but movement all throughout the day, especially if you have a desk job where you're using a computer a lot. You want to make sure that movement is a part of your routine, particularly resistance and strength exercises 2 to 3 times a week. All of those things are foundational things that are important for maintaining or helping initiate weight loss. And so, if you're doing those things and the weight is coming off and you are seeing good results, that's great. You may not need a weight loss medication, but if you're doing those things and the weight is very slow or it's not coming off, then that's where you want to have the discussion of, is a medication like a GLP-1 agonist, and GLP-1 medications are what Wegovy, Zepbound, tirzepatide, semaglutide. You want to have those conversations, with your doctor about, is that appropriate for you? Okay, so we're not talking about medication or lifestyle changes. For some people, it's an and, because the lifestyle changes are not sufficient to get them to losing a sufficient amount of weight that they need to lose. So think about it in that regard. And I often hear people say, well, I haven't done enough exercise yet, so let me go and exercise, get back on an exercise regimen and exercise a little bit. Or my diet hasn't been consistent and I'm not, I have some improvements that I do need to make on nutrition, or I do have improvements that I do need to make on sleep, or I do need to manage my stress better. So until I get those things done, I don't want to do a medication. Okay, well, how long are you going to continue allowing the negative effects of what your weight is doing to continue complicating your life before you pull the trigger to add in a GLP-1 because you're not getting those things right? I encourage you to set a time limit. So say I'm going to give myself 3 months, and if I haven't reached my weight loss goal in 3 months based off of these things, then you need to consider having additional support to do that. And for some people, especially when you're insulin resistant, your cravings and food noise can make it difficult for you to make good choices about the foods that you're picking. And it's not a willpower. It's not because you really were not wanting to eat healthy, but there are hormonal things that are happening and not happening that make it complicated for you to even choose healthy food. Okay? And so it's not just a willpower, it's not just a self thing, and that's where a GLP-1 can help get at a root cause at helping to improve those things, helping to lower food noise, helping to decrease cravings so that you can implement a more effective nutritional plan. I've had plenty of people who started GLP-1s and they're eating more vegetables now because the food noise for other things like carbohydrates and chips have been curbed for them so they can eat healthier. Okay? They have more energy to exercise and be able to move and do more movement throughout the day. Okay. So some of those internal things that you're doing in terms of lifestyle things that you can't implement, it's not always a willpower thing, but there's some metabolic things that may be happening that's preventing you from doing those things and sustaining those habits that you're trying to implement. And a GLP-1 can help metabolically reset you so that you can. Okay. And, even from sleep, even from an emotional standpoint, GLP-1s talk to every system of our body, and we are not one organ system in silo. Okay. We're all interconnected. So when I'm talking about utilizing GLP-1s for weight loss, it is not a quick fix. It's not a patch, but it is something that can be used effectively to help people metabolically get their bodies back into order so that they are not more in a more fat storage mode. Because another thing that happens with insulin resistance, if you listen to my other video, is that even eating healthy things can be stored as fat when you are insulin resistant. So again, we're not talking about one or the other. All of these things can work together to help you on a better plan for being able to lose weight and to sustain the weight loss. So I hope that helps. Leave me some feedback, leave me some comments. If this resounds with you, if there's someone that you've been talking about in your life that's been having these conversations and they need to hear this information, please like and share this video.